welcome back to Curl Angel Gaming. So today we're gonna be working on an Oldsmobile. We're working on the gutless cutlass. But yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. It won't be that bad, I don't think. Should be perfectly fine for what we do. Anyway, I mean, I got this thing from the junkyard. I mean, it looks pretty rough shape. I'm missing half the motor. What suspension? So, I mean, we're missing things, but we're missing not some of the important stuff. Which, I mean, is we still have a block, so, I mean, that's at least a good sign that we might be able to refurbish that block just a little bit, ever so much, and then, basically, I think we're gonna put some power in it. We're gonna try to anyway. Hopefully it doesn't get like too crazy, because I remember hearing some stories about these cars. But yeah, we're gonna really try to get it in performance, you know, get performance parts for what we can. I think, you know, once we get it modified, I think we might top out over, I'm gonna say we could probably get around 240, 250, 250 miles maybe out of it once we're done. Now, this is just my guess. I have no idea if that's what we're gonna get. You know, and then we gotta tear everything apart and all that. And the suspension's gonna be apart pretty easy. It's just full, you know, especially just coming apart anyway. We'll be done with that part. And then once we're done, you know, with it coming apart as easy as it is, and only a couple sewing bolts here and there, you know, that's not too bad. I mean, with this, you would think it would come apart a lot harder coming from a junkyard. But I mean, the junkyard already did us kind of a favor and got rid of some of the parts we didn't need. You know, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, because we're going to modify, you know, it's going to be performance out, and whatever I can do to it performance-wise, it's going to have. But, you know, we're also going to put a different transmission on it. So, I mean, that's going to help a little bit. So, basically, everything will be rebuilt as much as I can performance, but we're going to put, you know, on the body, we're not even going to change anything on it. We're just going to make it look, you know, like a normal car. Basically, we're going to build a sleeper car, I think. You won't even know that it's got so much power under it. If we make anywhere close to that amount of horsepower, this car is going to be scary. But I believe it is a rear-wheel drive, so that's where the scary part comes in. The rear end can slide out. I do know that, but going into it, I think it'll be good. Suspension will be apart shortly, and then once that's done, we'll get tearing apart on the motor, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, where it was sitting there for a while, they said, so I was like, okay, I have to buy it. It was kind of expensive, but I mean, you know, they're trying to make their money, and you know, at the end of the day, what I got, what I paid them for, it's not bad. But it's gonna be a nice car. But I think it's gonna be funny. You get on the highway, and everybody just looks at you, you know. I got a good color scheme picked out for it too. We're gonna go with something a little classic on it. I think once we get it all nice and looking good, you know, yeah, alright. Damn, every bolt's bad. Every bolt. I ain't never seen one that, you know. It's like, I've never seen this many bad bolts before, and when you see it, like, it's pretty bad. I just stopped to realize, yeah, like, a lot of the bolts were bad. So, some were okay, some were, you know, better than others, but Yeah, I think most of the rear suspension's probably gonna have to be replaced. At least on the driver's side. But, you know what? It was cheap enough. Yeah, hey, keep running into bad bolts every once in a while. It's just kind of weird. It's like, one bolt that you think isn't going to be bad is bad, and the one you think is going to be bad isn't bad, so that's alright. There ain't many body parts to fall off of it either. So, I mean, once we get everything kind of tore down, we'll bring the welder out, we'll get the body obviously looking good. See right now, man, the thing's racked all the heck. It looks so wavy down the side. Yeah, I don't know what happened to this car, but either one accident or multiple accidents or something, I don't know. This thing is pretty rough. But as long as we can get the body back straight, we should be okay. Which we can, it just is gonna suck that I have to. Yeah, I was like, it's like, what do you think in a junkyard car, I knew the body was gonna be jacked, at least on this side, at least on the passenger. Driver's side wasn't looking too bad, and that's the only side that was visible. Because on the other side, it was like, stuck behind like a junk pile, so I was like, can't really see it all that well. Meh. It's not as bad as some of the ones that I buy. But it's pretty bad. But at least I bought one that had somewhat of a motor this time. As compared to like some of the ones that I looked at buying from the junkyard that had no motor in them. Like it had nothing. Didn't even have an engine block. Didn't have, nothing in it, which is okay. Doesn't bother me none as long as we can, get it looking nice and get it back on the road. That's all that matters to me. But it will be nice. I just thought, I couldn't really tell what type of car it was or anything. They didn't even know, so I was like, alright, well, I'll buy it. I finally found out what it was, like, when I was buying it, and I was like, oh, okay. So, but, it'll be pretty good. I see no real trouble getting it apart, getting it back together. It's gonna take a minute. But, with performance parts, I think if we build it right, we're gonna have something that looks pretty good, has a heck of a ton of performance in it, and there ain't nothing that nobody can do about it, Although I think I will drive this one once it's all built. If we can get it all built, that is, everything all apart. I think mainly the only thing we can have is the front suspension and the motor left, really. And once those are apart, there's nothing else we can do. But I figured, we'll lower it, take the whole top half of the motor apart, so then all I gotta do is go lift it up, pull what's remaining, there's only like one thing remaining on the rear end, and then that will come off. And then we'll pull the front suspension apart, which there's not much front or back. There really wasn't much. There wasn't that many parts remaining. I was surprised, but it's okay. Dang. We'll have to see though. That's apart. Everything that's left is take the transmission off. And then once we lower it again, then we can pull the engine block out. That'll pretty much be all that remains. Because I've already pulled the interior and I've already pulled the body parts. It's pretty much torn apart at this point. Everything left is to bring the welder out, fix all the body parts that we can. We started on that. Once that's done, put it all back together, man. But we'll see what we can repair. I think we could probably repair everything. Suspension wise, I mean, mainly besides like a few parts here and there. I could be wrong. I often am, because sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know if I can repair all these parts, and then you end up repairing them all, and it's like, oh. So, we'll see what we get, how we get on, but we should be okay. As long as we run into stubborn bolts every once in a while, we should be okay. But, you know, over here, like here and there, you run into stubborn bolts. And you're like, oh, I thought it was gonna be an easy tear apart, and then you run into stubborn bolts. Never easy. I wish it was easy. It just never is easy. Oh well. I don't know. But to have a car basically torn apart, you know, almost ready to, you know, fix the body, that's not too bad. I thought, you know, it was going to take longer to tear this thing apart, and to be fair, it kind of was a long process, but not as bad as I thought. And then the front will be apart. In a few seconds, the front suspension will be apart. You know, and then that's basically it. Like, the front suspension will be apart. Then the only thing left on the rear is just some leaf springs, and then once we remove those, you know, that's it. But hopefully no more stubborn bolts. Okay, no stubborn bolts on that. Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, you know, there's always one. There's always one. There's just always one. There's always one that doesn't want to play fair. Doesn't want to play. Then you just get the hammer, and then it's just like it wants to play. It always seems like, you know, all that rust always gets it around that one bolt that you have to undo. Don't know how that always happens, but it's just kind of funny, I think. It's like somebody's got it out for you, you know? But who really does, it's just, you know, it's what happens. Alright. I think the only thing left to pull out of this car is the engine block here in a minute or so. And then once all that's pulled out, we do the body. There we go. That's out. There ain't nothing left of it. Alright, let's get the welder. See how much this is gonna cost me, because it's probably be a bunch. You never really know. Not too bad. You mean to tell me that that thing was green? Okay, that did not look like green. All I saw was rust, but yeah, we got all this stuff repaired here. That's really the only thing left, is just repair, and then once you get all that done, and there's pretty much nothing left. But that's not too hard to do. Repairing stuff is, it's kind of gotten it's a little bit easier for me now, but when I first started playing this game, it was like not easy. You get used to it after a while. So, once we finish this, I'll be able to start reinstalling. So, that's always a good thing. Because Usually this part right here takes me a while. Usually. Don't usually, you know. Don't get me wrong, this is still a part that I hate, but... we'll see what we can do with some of the parts, you know. Maybe we'll fix some of them up and we won't ever use them, or whatever. Or we'll end up using them for scrap or something. You never know. I just never know, like, what I'm gonna do with it. Like a certain part, like, if I'm gonna rebuild it a certain way, you know? Why not? If we're going performance like we are, I mean, yeah, we could repair them and then just sell them off. Or we could scrap them. Or whatever we want to do. Alright, let's see what we can do. Get everything done. Hopefully the way, you know, go faster, but... no? Oh, okay. Most of the suspension parts we have some that looks like we're gonna have to buy. But, I mean, besides, like, I'm gonna buy a few odd parts here and there, I'm okay with that. As long as I don't have to buy the engine block, I think we're okay. As long as I don't damage that. I don't want to damage no engine block today. Maybe we can, you know, damage U-bolts or whatever else. Something that's, you know, less costly than an engine block. I hope we don't damage the engine block. Okay. Let's see. A couple more times. We should have the engine block. Okay. Okay, so we have ourselves an engine block. Yeah, let's see, let's get what we can back together, I guess. Oh, I forgot about a fuse cut or a fuse box, didn't I? There's a brand new radiator. Don't think I have any of those. I don't think this came with a battery, or at least I can't really remember if it did or not. I'm just trying to remember parts that I could need or not need. I think if we have to redo it, fuse box, I think it was it not? Guess we'll find out. Yeah, I did for the fuse box. That's okay. We can, I'll just buy a fuse box. Or I have one. It's always a thing. I don't know whether I have one or not. Apparently, I have one. But, yeah, get this whole thing rebuilt. Pretty good. I'm not gonna keep this one. I think I'm just gonna sell it. Might as well. It's kind of actually pretty easy though. Working on this car is pretty easy. That's honestly what I like about like some of these like older cars, like, you know, you only gotta worry about certain things, you know. Certain parts here and there, you know. But other than that, I mean, that's like, if you gotta worry about, you know, certain parts and whatever, that's one thing, but they always make performance parts for the motor that you have, you know. So that's always a good, you know, good thing. Or, you know, whatever you have to do. That's the other thing I'm saying, like, if, you know, you didn't have to do X, Y, and Z, you know. Some of the newer cars, you know, like, you gotta worry about everything. But on the older ones, I mean, the only thing you gotta worry about is if it's getting spark, if it's getting air, if it's getting gas, you know. That's really the only three things you gotta worry about. But yeah, that's just like the weirdest thing, you know. I don't know. we'll see what we can get. I don't think we can get any performance fuses though. That's the only thing I don't think we can get for this one. Right off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't know if they even exist out there, but I'm pretty sure they don't. I don't know. I've never really, had to mess with one of those, but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. I think once we get this damn thing back together, it's gonna be a pretty fast little car. It's gonna be scary fast because it's gonna probably rear end's gonna probably want to slide out. Again, I think it's kind of common. It's like with a car when you go on the ice. It's like the same thing. I would imagine, because it wants to do the same thing. Like whether you're on ice or whether it's rear-wheel drive, and you're going on ice. I mean, you're gonna have to kind of watch that because it's gonna want to slide out from underneath you. But as long as you don't panic too much, it should be fine. You won't. As long as you don't panic, you won't crash it. But at least that's all I can tell them when I sell it to them. When I sell it to whoever wants to buy it, I'll just have to tell them that, and hopefully they'll understand what I mean. But it's gonna be a fun car to drive, at least. It won't look as bad as it did when it came in, that's for sure. It's gonna be brand spanking new pretty much everywhere. I mean, besides a few things here and there, it's pretty much gonna be, as it was when it came in. Body-wise, that's what it'll look like. But, from like the motor, transmission, that type of stuff, it ain't gonna be the same car. Be a lot faster car. I don't know what the top speed will be. I mean, I've made my predictions, but I think it's gonna be too fast for any track to even try to race it on. I think even a drag ship ain't gonna be able to hold this one. I mean, it probably will, but it's just the way that the way I'm thinking and how this car's gonna react. When you set it up in that type of setting, I don't know. I honestly don't know what it would do. Maybe we'll have to try that out when we drive it. Kind of almost set it up like, like at a drag track you would have it. Oh man, it's gonna be a scary car when it goes. It's gonna want to go. That's for sure. It ain't gonna be too slow, but don't need to be too fast or need to be too slow. You just, at least for this car, it should be perfect. And some of the performance parts I've had, some I had to buy, and some I have, so that kind of helps me too. From like past, other builds that I've done. But it's okay if I don't have a certain part, Or if you build two of the same motors back to back, you're like, okay, I thought I bought that part, but no, it was for the other car. And then it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, as many of them as I sometimes build, like, of the same motor, it's just kind of like, hold up, wait a minute, I thought I did that. I thought I did that for this one, and then you're like, oh, yeah, no, I didn't. That was the other one. But it's gonna be pretty quick. There's not much really left to. I mean, there's a lot to rebuild, but there's not a lot of parts that we didn't get. I mean, some parts we did get, but most common things is you won't get like oil filters and oil pans to repair. And you'll never get like piston rings or pistons or anything like that. Which, makes sense that you won't get like piston rings to redo and stuff like that. But we're gonna make sure that this car is gonna be nice. Gonna be real nice. Okay, so I need cam gear. I keep forgetting to buy certain parts. I buy this part and that part, and I'm like, okay, I'm everywhere. I guess I should have just set it on the motor side. I guess is what I should have set it for. Well, at least now I learned why I don't do that. But yeah, it's coming together. Like, for me, it's the quickest thing I think I've ever put back together. Because I've never had that many suspension parts, pull them off, and then put them back on again. Like, it's never happened like that. But first time for everything, as they say. Yeah, we're gonna make sure we get the performance, power steering pump. I think that's what I gotta buy. I can't remember. There's a bunch of other stuff I probably gotta buy. Who knows at this point? Because I can't keep track of everything. I just can't. I can never keep track of everything. But we'll get it all. I mean, it's not gonna take too much longer, I wouldn't think, to get it all done. And it didn't cost us too much. I mean, I've had rubber bushings. You know, I've had like certain parts like that. So that's not too bad. So the performance parts are, you know, a little bit pricier, but, you know, why not, you know, build it out a little bit. If it can't do at least a wheelie while you know, launching at the drag strip, then it ain't perfect. And it ain't ready. This thing will be ready. I wouldn't recommend it, but, you know, it's a street, you know, it would be technically a street-worthy car. So, you could drive it around. I wouldn't, again, I wouldn't recommend it, but it'd probably eat through gas pretty quick, but be like, oh, I just put fuel in it just a minute ago. Well, he makes it like a block or so. Like, it wouldn't make it far, I don't think. Alright, so, I mean, we ain't got much left to rebuild on it, really. We got pretty much everything rebuilt. I mean, we're probably gonna be missing a lot of, like, certain covers and bearings and wheel bearings and everything else. Because we're usually missing all that stuff, and usually rear shocks, we're always missing those. Except for, you know, in this case. But majority of the time we're missing that. No battery. Somewhat of a motor left. Need more bushings. That would probably be a thing too. I just happen to think about that because I don't remember when the last time I ordered rubber bushings was. Probably gonna need a lot of rubber bushings. That's gonna be the thing. That's gonna be like the little thing that I forget is like the order bushings or order, you know, whatever it might be. We're gonna need a lot of parts anyway. But, you know, I figured we'll lower it, get most of it together, raise it up, finish the front suspension, you know, get your brakes and all that, you know, stuff. Any wheel hub bearings and all that. Then we can just, you know, attach it on the ground. Then when we lift it up, then we can put everything else together. Like on the bottom side, essentially, of the suspension. But the motor's pretty much as far as put together as I can in the ground. So we might as well work on the suspension, if we can. I don't think no, we can't rebuild the rear end yet, because I have to lift that up. Just happened to think about that. I was like, can I put that together on the ground? But no. Game won't let you, unfortunately. Be easy, because then all you have to do is just use a little jack, bolt everything together and slap it up. But no, not in this one. It won't let you do that. It'll let you do everything else, just not that. But, you know, it's the little things. But it's gonna get together pretty quickly anyway. I mean, it's already coming together pretty good. We ain't having to worry a lot about certain parts, because, you know, we got pretty much everything we need. And, you know, so I'm happy with that. I mean, it came somewhat complete. It came with aces, like, okay, like, if we have to order, and if we have to do this and that to it, I'm okay with. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.